Hey everyone, it's Bethany from Beth and Books and welcome back to this book haul. There are over 40 books here that I'm going to be hauling today, and look, I know I had a little chat about like materialism in the book community and how sometimes we are encouraged to buy books in order to be, you know, like a proper reader. What happened, Bethany? Why are you being so hypocritical? What happened is there was a mad sale, and Trade Me, which is like the New Zealand equivalent to, I don't know, like a secondhand Amazon, just a national secondhand online shop. Lots of people were selling some really good books. So every single book that I am sharing with you today, I either got secondhand or I got in the Queen's birthday sale here in New Zealand a couple of weeks ago. This is an accumulation of books, essentially since my last haul, so a good solid couple of weeks. And honestly, I'm just gonna get into it. Also, I have my like stickers on some of these books still, so you can see how much either their sale price was. The first book is Gumiho, Wicked Fox. This is by Kat Cho. This is one I just picked up because it was on sale and it sounded really interesting. It is a young adult fantasy and it revolves around our main character here, who is the lovely lady called Gumiho. She is 18 and she has a secret, and that is that she's actually a nine-tailed fox who survives by consuming the energy of men. And not only is it massive Naruto vibes, which I love for, the main characters are Korean and the nine-tailed fox originates from a Korean folklore. So I thought it'd be a really nice way to get some more diversity into my reading, as well as some folklore. It just sounded like a good time. Okay, I'm gonna have to go through these so fast. Right, next up, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. This is another one I had just seen around and got because it was on sale. This is a new adult. Our main character is 23 years old, contemporary, and it revolves around our main character, who is called April. And essentially what happens is April goes viral on YouTube through some video that her friend Andy uploads. And this book deals with just the idea of what do you do with your fame? How can you use it to better the world? And if you're in that position, would you better the world or use all that fame for your own gain? The next one is The Vanished Ones. This is written by Donato Carisi. And this is a murder mystery where our main character called Mila, she is essentially part of the FBI, and what happens is in the past all these people went missing and they are slowly returning, brutally murdered, and the murderer is leaving behind a horrible pattern. It just sounds like a classic murder mystery, and I picked this up because of how much I've been enjoying the Hannibal series and just the whole world of murder mysteries, so I thought I would dive into this one. Next here I have Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I have actually read this one, but I want to collect the series myself. I haven't quite finished the series. By that I might inferring I've only read book one, but I found this one on sale, had to pick it up. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the rest in the series. So she's a Lone Ranger, but if you don't know, this is a young adult fantasy kind of thriller. We follow our main character who goes to assassin school to get revenge. Classic. And Jay Kristoff's writing is really, how do I explain this? Really quite adult-like in that he talks about quite mature topics, and sometimes they can be quite contentious in the reading community. For example, the idea of getting plastic surgery to enhance your femininity in terms of your breast size. So some interesting and potentially controversial things crop up in this book. Then we have Angie Thomas's On the Come Up. Yes, I've also read this one, but it was just one that I really wanted to add to my collection because I think it is a beautifully powerful portrayal of how African American people experience life and all of the challenges that they have to go through. It was my first really intense contemporary which revolved around the primary character who was African American. So this is quite a moment in my own reading journey when I read this a year or two ago, and it just had to belong on my shelf. Next up, Frankly in Love. This is written by David Yoon, and this is a Korean romance contemporary young adult book, and this revolves around Frank. Now, Frank is our Korean character, and his parents have imposed on him the expectation that he will only fall in love and marry a fellow Korean. He personally doesn't find himself attracted to Koreans and instead falls in love with a white girl. However, him and his friend who is a female who is also Korean has the same expectations around her, so they decide, let's pretend to be in a relationship to make our parents happy but also have an excuse to not always be home so you can see their own individual love interests. Just sounds like a really interesting conversation around expectations in cultures and how that might impact the younger generations. And next we have Into the Water by Paula Hawkins. I have seen this author, not this particular book, but this author around, and I just couldn't resist. And this is described as an addictive novel of psychological suspense about the slipperiness of truth and one family drowning in secrets. It's also some sort of murder mystery, and it revolves around female victims. Oh, I wonder if it's pretty underneath. I like the colour and the little detail there, and oh, there we go, you can see it now. And it just sounds like another really interesting read, and I just wanted to try out some of Hawkins' writing. Man, I feel like I'm speaking so fast. There's so much more here to get through. Oh my god, I need to pause on the book spending at the moment. But anyway, the next 3 books were also new ones that I bought, but I've actually read them already. First of all is Crescent City, which is Sarah J. Maas's latest book. I really enjoyed this one. I know there are a lot of mixed reviews. You can find mine in my Goodreads if you're interested. I would describe this as a new adult. I definitely wouldn't call it young adult because of some of the darkness that is mentioned, as well as the sexual relationships that ensue in this in this tome. I do understand that this is like quite off-putting, and personally I read the e-version and I just loved it enough that when there was a sale on, I had to pick up the paper hard copy. I then picked up We Hunt the Flame. This is written by Hafsa Faisal and was actually one of my 5-star predictions. It is a young adult fantasy adventure story, and it's got what I call the Mulan trope, where you have a female who dresses as a male in order to be successful in her current society and community. In this case, our main character is called Zafira, and she is dubbed the Hunter, and essentially she's the only reason her little village is staying alive, because for whatever reason she is able to survive in the forest that essentially kills people and makes them insane. But she, for whatever reason, is able to survive in there, hunt animals, feed the community, until one day this witch comes up to her and says, "Hey bish, do you want to like go on an adventure and find me this old relic?" Don't know about what the accent was. But essentially she's like, "Yeah bro, sounds awesome G." And she goes off and she meets this boy who, classic enemy to lover, and honestly I really enjoyed it. Also, I have to mention that I really enjoyed Hafsa Faisal in that she used her personal cultural language of Arabic in this story. If you didn't know, she's Muslim American, so you actually have Arabic written throughout the book in terms of names, hidden meanings, and the slang is often used as Arabic slang, and it was just different for me personally to read. I hadn't read anything like this before. And then lastly, if you haven't seen my last video, go check it out, because I read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, book 0 in the Hunger Games. I'm not going to go over this, we all know it, what it's all about. If you want my review, go check it out. There's a reading vlog and video. So those are all of the new books I've purchased. Now to get on to all the second-hand books I've purchased. First of all, I went to an SPCA op shop and picked up the entire Hunger Games trilogy for $9 New Zealand dollars, which honestly I thought was such a steal. Although as the trilogy continued, I found myself enjoying it less. I think it's a real classic, especially for a young adult dystopian, that I had to have as my collection. Also, where is it? It also means that I can give my mum and brother's trilogy copies back to them, because as much as I love you guys, why do you have one copy of, like, they're all different editions and it drives me insane. But you know, now I've got my own identical trilogy and I could not be happier. I also have the Millennium series number 1 and 2. I think book 3 is somewhere in this pile. I've actually read these 2. I just need to finish by reading the last installment in the original trilogy. If you don't know, this is an awesome thriller, mystery, adult series where you follow Elizabeth Salander, who is different to say the least, and I cannot remember the first guy's name. And Michael Blomkvist. He is the journalist, and together they essentially unravel this massive criminal mastermind. Oh, it's just really good, and I love the writing style, so I had to have it. Then, St. John's. Shout out to my local St. John's. They were having a 50% off everything, and I got this for $1.50. I'm sorry, I'm just so proud of like sales. It just makes me so happy. But anyway, this is Donna Tartt's The Secret History. I have seen her other book. I can't remember what it's called now. I'll insert a picture of it. I've seen this book everywhere recently, and I want to know what all the fuss was about. And then I was listening to Ariel Bissett and Raylene's podcast called the Books Unbound podcast, and Raylene was talking about how much she loved this. So when I found it, I picked it up. Honestly, I don't know heaps about this except it's considered a modern classic and it is set somewhere in some sort of educational system, a New England college, and that's kind of all I want to know. It's to do with misfits in a high school, and that's just my kind of book. Oh, I lied, I found one. I bought this one. What If It's Us? This is by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. And honestly, this is a male-male relationship, and I picked it up because I freaking adored Carry On. And this just seems like it's in the same contemporary romantic sort of vibe, and that's what I'm living for. And from my understanding, it's about the two main characters, Arthur and Ben, giving their romantic relationship a second chance. I don't know, it just sounds freaking adorable. And then I decided to visit a local antiques shop, and I discovered they had an awesome range of books. So I picked up The Life of Pi and The Help. These are just two books which I've wanted to read for a while. I've seen both of the movie versions. In fact, I studied The Help when I was 16, 17 at high school. And looking back as like an adult, geez, I'm an adult now. Looking back as an adult, I can have so much more respect for The Help and the messages that it was trying to give, and the identity and the agency of these African-American women. And I just really want to read the book version because we all know books are better than movies. You can fight me that one down in the comments. And then Life of Pi, I was just fascinated when I watched the movie of the world. So that's why I wanted to get this one. Now that I'm looking at them on the shelf, I've realised how much I've bought. Oh gosh. Okay, now we are getting to the packages, which I haven't opened. I actually wrote down on a list all the books I bought off Trade Me and got my boyfriend Titus, shout out, you're the best babe, to like cross them off as they came in. So I almost genuinely can't remember what I've got here, which just shows the actual like extent to how crazy I went. But it was self-ISO. What else was I meant to do with my free time? Okay. Ooh, box. Ugh. Thank you to this person for bubble wrapping. Here I have the first 3 books of the Eragon series. Woo! Yeah! So there are, apparently not Eragon, there's Eragon, Brissinger and Eldest. I am aware that there is a book number 4, but it just wasn't being sold in the auction for these that I found. The story behind this is I've only read Eragon, and I remember carrying this with me everywhere when I was 16. I genuinely have a vivid memory of walking out with it like this out of a PE class. I don't know what I was doing. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have been reading during PE, but you know, I wouldn't have also put it past me. But I remember this, and I know this is one of the most like insane dragon fantasy stories, especially considering how young Christopher Paolini was when he first published Eragon, and I just want to honestly finish the series. I'm almost mad at myself, so that's what this is. I feel like I've been filming for years, but there's like still so much. Okay, let's just keep going. Right. Oh, okay, I need to talk about this. This is Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. This is the Cursed Child Parts 1 and 2, and I'm also pretty sure I purchased Fantastic Beasts somewhere because I wanted to complete my Harry Potter collection. However, I purchased this after J.K. Rowling's drama on Twitter in regards to her anti-trans messages, and I just want to put out there for the record my stance on this. I am 110% with the LGBTQIA plus community. Everybody who falls under that umbrella and everybody who doesn't, we're all equal humans. Love is love. How you identify is your business, and nobody should judge you on that. I am with you all of the way, and I do not support what J.K. Rowling and her message has been. With that being said, I do also agree with Don't unsubscribe, guys. Let me finish that sentence. I agree with Daniel Radcliffe's message that the readers of the Harry Potter world are the ones who make it come alive. So I have added to my collection very recently, but just know that I do not stand with J.K. Rowling and her messages. That being said, here we go. Cursed Child is now part of that collection. This is one that I actually only picked up. Oh, this lighting has gone dark, hasn't it? There we go. Does that help? Probably not. So this is Lisa Coe's The Leavers, and I picked this one up because I enjoyed Little Fires Everywhere in a surprising way. And one thing I loved about that book was how the conversation around adoption of I believe it was a young Chinese baby into a white family, and how that baby could lose all of its cultural side of its life when it's not being in a family which is part of their original culture, if that makes sense. This one has a similar vibe to it in that a Chinese immigrant woman goes to work one day at the nail salon and she never comes home, leaving behind her 11-year-old son. And this son is adopted by 2 white professors, and it's just a discussion around that. Again, just adding to some of the diversity of the cultures I'm reading about, because when I did my 2019 summary and looked at all my statistical data, I realised that I wasn't reading from a broad enough range, and I'm always endeavouring to open up my horizons, especially when it comes to the books I read, because that is a primary source of information for me, fictional or not. Oh, so yes, that's a YA contemporary. We then have, oh man, so close. This is Lifelike, written by Jay Kristoff, and I picked this up for this punchline. It says, it's Romeo and Juliet meets Mad Max meets X-Men with a little bit of Blade Runner cheering from the sidelines. And honestly, when I saw this and it was going for real cheap, I was just like, yeah, I want it. That's all I need. And all I know I need is to read it. Can you tell I'm dramatic? And also my love, I suppose, for the Nevernight book and the writing style had me feeling like I would like this as well. All right, we're still going. Next up we have, there we go. Here's book 3. Oh, good to know, I've got it. And is it the same height? I didn't know. See, because when you buy things from different people, if it's I'm happy. All right, next up we have 3 books. The first one here is The Kite Runner. This is written by Khaled Hosseini. Just looking at it, it is in all right condition. It's got a little bit of a pull there, but you know, like I said, books are meant to be read. And this is considered also like a modern classic. This is one I picked up simply because it is one of the top 10 videos in one of the decades that I'm going to be doing soon. And honestly, it just sounded really moody and like it would be really eye-opening and very, very sad. I'm definitely going to cry, I can just tell, but one of those books that I think I have to read in my lifetime. We then have Room by Emma Donoghue. Now this I was kind of meant to read 2 years ago in my Gothic literature paper when I was doing my English degree, and you gal didn't. Essentially what happened is I was inundated with books I had to read. Maybe this is a separate video topic, but my English degree genuinely made me despise reading books for enjoyment. I would always flick to the end of books, see how many pages I had to go, and that was it. So needless to say, it wasn't the most fun. But I remember learning about Room and being fascinated and wishing it was one of the books I read. So I just picked this one up because I want to satisfy that craving to read what I was meant to have read years ago. Again, I'm just gonna do this so we can see the next level that gets filled up, because I have bought way too much crap. Hey look, reality! I've got sweatpants on with my blouse. Was I fooling you? Hopefully I was fooling you. Anyway, next up is S.J. Kincaid's The Diabolic. Oh, that is such a pretty cover. And this is all about people who are called diabolics. In this case, our main character, called Nemesis, is a diabolic, which means she is created to protect a galactic senator's daughter. Honestly, it just sounds like a really interesting commentary on the different power between people and what makes someone interesting. I believe this is an adult thriller with some sci-fi elements in it. Next, Oh, there's two. Okay, so straight away I can see here that there is the Fantastic Beasts book that I mentioned by J.K. Rowling. So I now think I have completed that collection of mine. And then I also did pick up Paula Hawkins' The Girl on the Train, just because it was that name that I had seen. And when I was reading the back of Into the Water by Paula Hawkins, a lot of the praise was for The Girl on the Train, and I was just really in the mood for some sort of thriller mysteries, so I picked it up. And what happens is Rachel seems like your normal girl who likes to look out of train windows, until one day as she's looking out that window she sees something she wasn't meant to see. Bum bum bum! All I want to know, it sounds intriguing, it sounds fast paced, it sounds great. Next! Alright, we're almost there, guys. There's just that left. Okay, I actually forgot I got this. Donna Tat, The Goldfinch. This is the one that I had seen everywhere, and it turns out I bought it for myself. I ain't mad. Okay, what's this about? This is literally a Bookstagram made me buy it book. Oh my god, look how big it is. How many pages? 900 pages? 900. Oh, it smells good. Oh, okay, this sounds so good. So we have our main character, Theo, and essentially his mother was devoted and his father was absent. But there's a catastrophe that tears his life apart. He's alone in New York. He's taken in by wealthy people. He's tormented by his grief for his mother. And all that he has left of her is a small, captivating painting that ultimately draws him into the criminal underworld. Oh, this sounds so good. Look at all these great books. Look at them all. Okay, next. You good, girl? You good? I just spent so long getting this much of a haul when it was open the whole time. Oh my god. And it's only Monday. Only Monday. Sarum by Edward Rutherford. Oh, it is definitely like a loved book. Don't hate it though, but definitely a loved book. And the reason I picked this up, and you probably haven't heard of it, is because when I was on placement last year, I was talking about how I liked books that took me somewhere else. Very broad, very general statement, but the teacher she wasn't even looking after me, she was just one of the staff members at the school I was at, suggested Edward Rutherford's writing, and I looked into it ages ago and discovered Sarum is the first book in this massive series he has, and I just picked it up because, you know, it's not often I get personal recommendations by people. It's essentially lots of different families in history doing their family stuff, but there's lots of drama, and it sounds really intriguing and like it could be really gripping, or it could be ridiculously hard to keep track of who is who in the family. But either way, we're gonna give her a go. I was trying to be so smooth and it did not work. Lovely Bones, Alice Sebold. This also has a memory attached to it in that when I was 14, we had to do silent reading at school, and one of the books on the bookshelf in the classroom that was there for you if you needed a book was Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold, and I remember reading the first few chapters and being like, holy hecker, this is so great. And long story short, I never finished it, so I bought it for myself. If you don't know, it is a young adult thriller mystery about this person who died. No, she was murdered, that's right. And she comes back as a ghost. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. And honestly, you probably know more than I do. And I feel like I'm way behind on reading that one. Okay, I need to divulge a secret with you guys. You ever see a book that's just so pretty, you have to own it. And yes, that is my materialistic side coming out, but also right now I don't care because holy, it is so beautiful. You ready? Oh, my brother's home. The Essex Serpent, just look at it. Just on the inside. What's it even about? London, 1893. Somebody's husband dies. They step into their new life. There's a boy who is their son, and they hear rumours about an Essex Serpent. Hey! Oh. I'm just filming a video, just so you know. I'm not talking to myself. Finally opened them all, and I genuinely need a new bookshelf. Honestly, it sounds like a historical fantasy adult fiction, which I don't read much of, like historical stuff. I say talking about historical stuff down here, but I'm sure it will be good because the cover's good. That's how things work, right? And then lastly here, I have a box. Now, I know what's in here because let me tell you, the way Trade Me works is that you put a bid on something, and sometimes I'll put a bid on something when it's like $1 because I'm like, I'd rather pay $1 than someone buy now and then you can't obviously get it because they've bought it already. But this was a case of me doing that and forgetting that I had bought it, and later on thinking, why did I buy this? Because essentially, guys, I just bought The Devil Wears Prada, but like 6 of them. Will I even like Devil Wears Prada? Well, I liked the chick flick, but will I like the books? I don't know, but I've committed to 6 of them. I don't know, but that's where we're at. I'm leaving that in. Okay team, so that is all 41 of my new books. Thank you. This has to be one of the longest videos I have done in a very, very long time. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm going to be honest with you, I've actually got 5 still in the mail on the way here, but they can just wait till the next haul because I got way too impatient for this. If you have the time and energy, please consider leaving a cheeky like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you all in the next video. Enjoy all the places you go on your own reading journeys. Bye.